Hey everybody, welcome to the video. Welcome to the channel. You'll see the backhoe broke down in the corner there. That was supposed to be today's video, but life had other plans. Looks like we're framing instead. It's 4 o'clock, so that's cool. In case you are new here, this is the YouTube Yacht. It's a boat shaped, boat themed rental cabin. We're in the second story. You're sitting where the master bedroom's gonna be. There's a little wheelhouse floor we put in last time. We've got what we're using for rafters all cut and sitting up here, so first thing I want to do, since it's kind of late in the day, is go ahead and get those laid in and installed the rest of the way out. We're just going to let them flop and we'll slide them down with the board. We're using these on here since there's an overhang or an uplift potential, just a little bit of extra protection. And I'm just nailing right now. I'm just nailing this part of it, getting it in place and nailing that part of it. And then we'll run a string on that ridge and get that ridge straight. These are all 16-inch on center and they're stacked on top of the studs, but obviously we got to lay out across the top of the window. Let me ask you guys a question. So this was kind of the bigger project we started at the beginning of the channel. The idea of doing a themed vacation rental because we have a bunch of rentals in our area as it is. Most of those rentals are down on the river. And since we don't live on the river, gonna need the bracket. Okay, hold on. We wanted something that's gonna be competitive, so a theme's what we came up with. Anyway, it's one of the original projects of the channel. And it never fails, and I don't mind it, it doesn't bother me. It just always makes me chuckle a little bit. If I'm working on one project, somebody wants to know when we're going to be working on the other one. But I always get comments of people saying, hey, when are you going to work on, we'll say the dump truck? That's why I came to the channel. Or I'll work on the dump truck and they'll be like, when are you going to work on the YouTube Yacht? That's why I came to the channel. And I'm just curious, what video series brought you to the channel? Timber bridge, stone bridge, church salvage. We've done a lot. Just the good old-fashioned excavation videos when I used to work for Dirt Perfect. How would you find me? And what kind of content do you like? If you don't like the YouTube Yacht, I got bad news. We're kind of committed at this point. I hope to be back on the dump truck, oh, maybe in a couple weeks. I might do it just to get a little bit of break from this, to be honest with you. So we're going to run a string down the top of each wall so we can make sure we get the tops of these running nice and straight. So both of these walls right in the middle need to come in maybe half on each one for the tops of them to be straight. And that matches up with what the level shows too. They both need to come in just a little bit. So I'm going to put the ratchet strap about dead center. We're going to put it right at the peak of the width. Huh? That sounds fancy. And we'll pull it. Hopefully it moves somewhat even. We'll double check it on the string, we'll double check everything with the level, and if that looks good, then we'll run a string down the ridge, slide those, you'll see, you know, I'm just... This is perfectly centered up where it needs to be. I double checked my tail measurement. We're going to get that nailed into place and run a string from the top of that ridge to that side, and then we'll slide everything so the ridge is perfectly in line. And the Admiral just found out that I broke her tail light like 2 weeks ago. So this is good. Things are good. Things are fine. Should have held on to this end of it. A little too far. Okay. Sports. People like them. String along on the ridge, and I can go down through there. You can see how some of them are quite a ways off. We'll go down through there and we'll just adjust. I can still see my pencil lines from when I cut them, so that's what we're going to. Got those all adjusted on their center marks. They look pretty good. We're gonna run nails in the hurricane brackets down both sides, and then that'll be it for this evening. In the morning I'll come in and we'll run, still gotta do our toenails from the rafters down into the top plate as well. It is the following morning. Those are toenailed off. We can lose that. Yeah, probably the best way to do it. Switched ladders out for this fella. We're gonna get these filled in next. We gotta double up a 2x10 on that. So 2x10 there and a 2x10 there first. Whoa! Now what? Who knows? Found some scrap 2x10s left over from the floor system. That's handy. It'll work out pretty well. Joist hangers are next, using a little cheater block to help get it positioned, and running 3-inch joist hanger nails so it runs through both of those 2x10s, really tying that whole thing together. Not that there's a tremendous amount of weight there, but if Santa Claus ever misses his mark, he should be okay. Oh, easy ladder. I get comments saying that's a lot of nails or that's a lot of glue. Remember, codes are minimums, right? If the fella wants to build something a little stronger, you can do that. You don't have to operate on the lowest bid system that we do with our critical infrastructure. How would you like this built? Oh, as cheap as possible. What do you mean it failed? Now that's magical, huh? Not bad. Pretty cool. We have these to finish. I've got an idea in my head how it's gonna work out, but I don't know in reality. Hey, how you doing? If it's actually gonna work that way or not. Let me draw you up what I'm thinking. So I got a couple options up here. Option number one is just keep running those out the same length so that the roof is a rectangle when it's all said and done. But I think that would look pretty goofy, especially considering the fact we took the time to put that curve into the concrete. I think it'd look goofy if you're looking from down there, looking back up to see a squared out roof. And not only that shape, but there's also going to be, you see the door here, a promenade. Somebody said that the last video. I called it a deck. They said, no, it's a boat. It's a promenade. I don't know. We'll call it that. It sounds fancy. There's going to be a promenade that goes. Sounds ridiculous too, but here we are building a boat in the woods that goes around the outside, same width as the concrete down below. So if you were looking at it from the ground up, you got the curve in the concrete, we'll have a little bit of curve in that deck, and to have a completely squared off roof would look, well, I just don't think it'd look the best. So I need to bring that in, and I'd like to match what we've got framed out, just maintain the overhang out, but follow this shape in. We're doing a metal roof because we got a very low pitch. My thought process is we maintain that ridge height all the way out, but then you change the length of it, which changes the pitch just a little bit. But as long as we maintain the ridge height, we should still end up with two flat planes, right? That's the way it's working in my head. So in my head, the way I see it
is that will still be a plane that we can lay a sheet on and lay flat metal on.
I think I need to mock it up with cardboard. That'll be the one in the very back, and then we'll just bring each one in. So same ridge height, following the wall in, which means that slope changes. But the question is, does this and this remain a flat plane that we can sheet and put metal on? And the answer is definitely, I don't think so. We've got some problem solving to do now. So it's pretty obvious to me, now that I've made the little model and I can visualize it, that obviously that's going to plane this edge, and this edge will plane. But if you take a full sheet and lay, it's not going to plane as a sheet. The ridge height matters so that the slope is enough for drainage. What if we adjust the ridge height on each one so that the slope is the same? So as we bring it in, we can drop the ridge down just a little bit so that this slope is the same as that slope. Well, that let it plane the way we need to on the sheet. More math than I wanted to do today. How do I translate that into our model? So I redid the model where the slope is identical, which means the height of the ridge has to change as we go along, and that a fella can sheet. You got to make that ridge cut, but it planes for a sheet. So buckle up for a very surprising episode of Kleeman Does Math. I'm as surprised as you are. We've got 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that we're gonna have to do, and then a 5th one, watch her bud, which will be made out on the end whenever we do the gutter boards. The wasp are insane. Step 1, layout up top. One thing I got to keep in mind is I got to lay out off of this, not off of this. This is a little bit of an angle, which is going to skew it just a little bit and could easily affect where our sheets break. So I got 4 of those marked, and then I need the overall distance for each one of those spots. Then I take those clearly written measurements and we put them on our magic board back there. 108th. And then we're adding the overall overhang, which is 68, combining that on both sides. So we had 68 each one of that. And we're going to use a calculator because your math teacher lied to you. They are in fact readily available everywhere. And once we have the total overall length, we're going to divide that by 2. And once I have that half measurement, that gives me, wait, what's that give me? My triangle. So I've got my percentage I need here. I got this measurement here. The only catch is I got to take into consideration the height of the tail. I got that height out of there for the math, and then we can add it in afterwards. Otherwise, it's not a true triangle if we got that 4-inch tail on. So there's the first 4. The circled number, the 11, 10 5/8, 10 3/8, 10. That's going to be the height of the ridge. This is where the time consumption comes from on a themed build. But these little details, these little things we're doing right now, that's what makes the difference. If we take shortcuts and we do things that don't look like they fit on the boat shape, then it looks like it doesn't fit. And if it looks like it doesn't fit, then it just draws from the whole thing. So it's worth taking the time to do this, but this is where that time consumption comes from. every joist, rafter, whatever you want to call it, is all in place, with the exception of one on the very end, which is cut and sitting there, and this very last one, but it is cut and sitting there. That'll wait. Whenever we sheet, we'll sheet up the side, we'll slap that up, and then we'll cut it. It's just easier for me to do it that way, but they're cut in place and ready. This is one of my favorite things. If you ever tear into an old building or go looking around an old building and you find old construction notes like that, somebody's going to tear into that one day and try to figure out what in the night the Templar is going on. Oh God, that fella tried to reach out and grab me. That's okay. Next thing I want to do to finish this off, we've got a roll of plastic. I want to go ahead and get some plastic, try to get plastic over all this. I don't know when it's going to be whenever I get it sheeted. I mean, I don't necessarily know if I have enough plastic or how the heck I'm going to spread it across there, but I'm stuck. Will you grab that air hose? Thanks. There's nobody down there. It's just me. Not quite sure how I'm going to unfold the thing, but one at a time. One problem at a time. I don't know how wide this folds out though. Now I'm wondering if I ought to run it the other direction so that we actually get it long enough. Because right now it's not wide enough. This is going really well. Trying to piece that together is just being a pain in the butt and time consuming, and I don't think I'm doing a good enough job. Pretty sure the first stiff wind's going to come through and just relocate that plastic for me, probably on top of one of those trees, and I'll have to cut down to get it cleaned up. Next video, I honestly don't know. We might be back to dirt work on the backhoe depending on when that tire gets back in, or we might be doing some framing work down on the inside. I honestly am not sure. Heck, there's a possibility we could be back on the dump truck build. Things are very chaotic right now. Of course, they're always chaotic. Why am I always surprised that it's chaotic? That's just life. We should know by now. What are we even talking about? I don't know. I'm glad you guys are here. I'm glad you're watching, and I hope you keep coming back because we're doing fun things.